I'm Drea.
I'm Meg.
I'm Tina.
And I'm Jess.
And this is Pardon My Stash. Welcome to Pardon My Stash, a podcast about knitting within the fiber arts and how awesome it is. Before we get into today's topics, let's check out what we're working on this week. Jess?
So I have cast on my make-along project for the Pardon My Stash tea cozy. I'm doing the Knit Flower Basket Tea Cozy by Lily's Sugar and Cream, in which you're supposed to use the sugar and cream yarn, which I could be doing because I have a lot of it because I use it for my
and how
amigurumis and stuff a lot of the time, but it's really big and I didn't want a tea cozy that big, so I'm actually just using some like minis of random like yarn of ours from Critical Hit Dyes in a fingering weight to make it smaller, and I'm doing it that way. So right now I'm pretty sure this is a either a first run of Barrett or a mini skein that got mixed in with Bronze Dragon. I'm not sure which one it is. I'm pretty sure it's a mini of Barrett.
That is not Bronze Dragon.
Yeah,
Bronze Dragon doesn't have that much red.
That's true. So it's an early mini of Barrett, and I'm making the basket part of this, and that's what I'm doing.
Tina?
Well, I'm not working on the make-along because I still haven't picked my pattern. I have confused and alarmed by all the choices, and I don't know what to pick. I'm having picking anxiety.
Wow.
So anyways, I'm working on the Ingalls sweater, which is just stock knit right now in the round from Boylan Knitworks.
Very good.
With String NYC, Dolcetto DK in gray, dark gray, and red.
It's coming out nice though.
Yeah.
You've actually got a lot done on that.
It doesn't look like it, but it's actually really long.
It actually looks like you're almost done.
Yeah.
With the body.
Yeah, with the body. Yeah, I'm probably like 2/3 through.
Yeah, like art sweater is just amazing that way, where like you're like, I'm knitting forever. This is never going to be done, and then all of a sudden you lift it up and you're like, whoa.
Yeah,
I kind of forgot that I had to stop at some point. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep on going. Maybe I'll have it done for Rhinebeck. Who knows? Maybe I wasn't even planning on doing a Rhinebeck sweater, but maybe this will be a Rhinebeck sweater. Who knows?
there's time.
There's time.
Meg, what you got?
I am still doing the yoke increases on my Sundrop pullover by Laura Aylor. I'm about halfway done with the raglan increases. This is my first raglan top, so it's been interesting. I'm kind of ready to move on to something else because it is just round after round of kind of the same thing, but I'm getting excited watching it grow. I'm excited that I'm learning a new skill instead of just knowing how to do sweaters with round yokes. Now I know how to do a raglan yoke, which is kind of cool. And I'm knitting this out of Dragon Horde yarn Gnome Tweed in the colorway Fairy Yule Tree.
About you, Drea?
I am still plugging away on the Akemi shawl by Isabel Kramer. I have my make-along picked out, but I have not started it yet. I picked the Snail Tea Cozy by Anke Klempner. It's going to look like a snail.
Yeah.
It's going to be beautiful, really quirky, and I'm really looking forward to it. They do pipe cleaners.
Oh,
to make the eyes stand up.
that's really cool.
So yeah, that will be coming eventually. I just haven't started it yet. I have not picked out like colors or yarn yet. So
no, I'm in the same boat because I had picked a project and then I decided to change my project because I saw what somebody else was doing and I decided I wanted to do that instead.
Oh, very good.
Because I'm a follower.
Yeah, I got heavily tempted by that person who's doing the octopus.
I saw that one.
I just know I won't finish it. I know I won't finish it. I know I will make one leg or like one little head, and then it will be a legless octopus forever. I gotta figure it out. I gotta find. Maybe I just need to do a basic tea cozy, something just real straightforward.
I believe in you. Yeah, you can do it. If you wanted to do the octopus, you could.
I know my attention span's not there, Dre.
I feel that.
I'm actually gonna do the steak this coffee cozy, like a couple of people are doing on the Discord.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I really, really want to try steaking, and I figured this is a good, painless way to try it without knitting a sweater and being terrified. So I have to pick out my colors, and I have to figure out what I'm gonna do, but I haven't done that yet.
Be sure to check out our website, pardonmystash.com, for more information as well as pictures regarding our current projects, patterns, and yarns. For our topic this week, we are going to talk about crafting rituals. Could be knitting rituals, but I know not everybody is strictly knitting here. And
So rituals, yeah. I'm glad you asked. So after I set the temperature to a nice 68 degrees, I then, decide to go sit on as comfortable of a couch as I can, which is typically my side of the reclining couch. Put on a blanket, usually the Mickey Mouse one with the
Sherpa lining.
Sherpa
yes.
lining,
Yeah.
completely covers. Gotta have a snack, gotta have a drink just in case, because I don't want to get up. And yeah, if my husband's not going to let me put the light on above our head, then I need the lights around my neck, and then I need total silence.
Okay, that's incorrect. Because like all of that is true
Except for the total silence.
Except for the total silence and the fact that you completely overlooked the fact that I would be shuffling in as you finished like setting yourself up to claim the other side of the recliner sofa.
Yes, that's true.
With my own blanket.
Yep.
And my own snacks.
The gray blanket.
Yeah.
If I didn't take the Mickey blanket.
Yeah.
If I took the Mickey blanket. Yeah. Snacks. Usually some kind of meat and cheese platter in between us.
100%, yeah. And sour gummies.
Yeah.
And Love Island in the background.
Oh, yeah. Because we don't pay attention to it. We just look up every so often and go,
oh, those are some poor life choices right there.
All right, Meg and Jess, what about you?
No, I love our ritual bonding through knitting and trash TV.
I don't know. I like feeling like I'm going to spend like a 4 to 5 hour period, even though it never turns into that because I always end up getting distracted on my phone or otherwise to do the knits. Oh, you also got to pick the knitting that you're in the mood for.
Not me. I usually have one project going, so I usually don't have to worry about picking a project. I can just whip it out and go.
I don't know. I feel like I have like a different ritual for all the things that I do. Knitting is the most like, or crocheting, because those are similar, and it's like during the hours like when Meg is still awake or here, we will usually find a comfy spot and figure out a movie or a documentary or something that we want, and we will put it on and just kind of go and let it go. We tend to try and find like longer movies, like we'll do a marathon if we have more time of something, or like a series that we can just let play so we don't have to worry about choosing a new thing to go to when the first thing ends.
We have gone through a lot of TV shows that way.
We have gone through a lot of
playing
TV
through
shows,
the whole thing.
Or we'll watch Lord of the Rings or
Unsolved
Mysteries. That's a good one. We were doing like Cold Case Files for a while. So that's like what I'm used to doing when we're doing that together. If it's just me, for knitting or crochet, I will throw on YouTube, because that's my jam. And there's like a couple things that I'll watch, and it's usually like the hidden lore behind certain video games that I'm into at the time, or like stuff you might have missed or speed runs of things because I think those are really cool. And then there's like this game that it's really weird, but it's called The Binding of Isaac, and there's
my
I know
God.
that's my go-to.
Oh
And
my
there's
God.
a specific YouTuber, Northern Lion, that I will watch do it because he doesn't talk about the game while he's playing. He's from Canada and he just talks about like stuff. And so I find that very therapeutic while I'm going. So I'll have the game going and him talking about something else, and I'll be doing and it's great. And it's like I can just focus on the three things all at the same time, and it's fantastic. If I'm doing like drawing or painting or something, I throw on music. Um, and depending on what it is I'm arting at the time depends on what genre of music it is, but I will go through that. I have like just an amalgamation now of random music in my Spotify list that I'm like, all right, today is a this sort of music day. Today is like a today is just for instrumentals. Today is like I'll do some vocals too. You know what? We're just gonna do randoms right now. So that is how I get down.
I feel like I do the same thing. Like if I'm drawing versus knitting or even sewing, because I used to do that too. We used
Mm,
to do costumes and stuff.
yep.
If I were sewing, then I would create a disaster of the living room and then put on a very loud Disney movie that I would ignore but sing to.
Well, that takes me back
Yep.
to
Yeah.
like summer 2007
Yeah.
With the days.
when your room was like a sea of fiberglass and Jess's
Yep.
sewing machine was in the living room and there was just a sea of fabric. And I would
And
come
Disney
home
movies playing. Yeah.
every day and Jess would just look at me without even like saying hi. She'd be like, it's all going away the day after the con. Just
And
trust
it
me. And it
would.
did. It did.
It was like
It
a
did.
freaking miracle.
It was an absolute sea of crap until like immediately the day following.
Yep.
That was funny.
Everything got put away then.
It's because like my eye was twitching at that point.
Well, that was the understanding we had at my house, so that was just how we did it. I mean, granted, when I was living with my parents still, I had a door I could shut, but... but yeah, I remember those days.
Those were good days. I wouldn't want to go back to them, but they were
No,
fun at the
they
time.
were fun at the time.
But I'm a lot like you with drawing though. I'll put my noise canceling headphones on and then I'll put on usually some kind of instrumental music. Maybe like a video game soundtrack or something,
Mm.
or even green noise, and just like ride the waves until I'm done doing my art.
Yeah, I do the same thing with coding. I have to have the noise canceling headphones on. Sometimes I don't even put anything on. I just need to have I
Nothing.
I can't hear other stuff when my brain is talking. I'm trying to discuss logic in my head. So it's either got to be lo-fi music or it's got to be nothing. But when it comes to knitting, I feel like knitting is so second nature to me at this point. So I don't feel like I need to focus as hard on it unless it's a specific, like it's a complicated project. Like that mystery project I'm doing, I can't just sit and do that because every row is different. And it's very hard to memorize because it's like randomly it doesn't you don't knit as it presents, so it's like I can't like just remember what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of frustrating, so that one I have to
Focus on.
but yeah, if I'm just like
Most of the time if I'm knitting, it's secondary to whatever it is that I'm actually doing. Like I'll be watching a movie or I'll be
yeah, I can't just knit.
no. I have fidget fingers. I need something to do.
Like and I could be knitting and waiting in line, or
Yep.
knitting like at the carpool line, or I could be like knitting and like listening to a meeting,
Yep.
or knitting and watching a show, or
Mhm.
knitting and talking to somebody, but I can't just knit.
Knitting's a comfort.
Yeah. Something to do with my hands.
Exactly. What about you, Meg? Are your knitting rituals different when you're by yourself versus when you're with Jess?
So I was actually thinking about, when you guys came up with the rituals, I'm like very I'm a very ritualistic person. And I do a lot of things like in certain orders, and not realizing until a few years ago like that I did that. It was just kind of like I just sort of thought that was the way everybody did it. One of the things that I do before I start a project, um, I like everything to be completely neat and organized. Um, I will clear off every surface close to me, like in the area that I'm going to be working in. I will wind all of the balls of yarn for the project, unless it's like a sweater where I'm going to be using like multiple balls of the same color. But if I'm doing like a color work, even if it's going to be weeks before I get to that second color, I will roll that ball as well. I will get all the needles, stitch markers, etc. Kind of like a cook getting all of like the things out together.
Yeah, all the
Even if
ingredients.
yeah, you know what I mean. Like even if they're all just gonna wind up in my bag at the end of it, like they're not gonna stay there until I get to use them. But I like to make sure I have everything out and I know where everything is, because nothing pisses me off more than, I get to the part in the pattern and they're like, okay, switch to size 4 needles. And I'm like, shit, where are the size 4 needles? I didn't get those. I didn't know where they were. And then I have to stop everything and go get the needles, and it ticks me off.
There is nothing more inconvenient than needing to get up after you got comfy with your
Yes,
project and having to go find
absolutely.
something.
Yeah,
So
and half the time I'm like, oh, the needles that I wanted are in another project. So now I gotta find the what's it called? The ends for the cords so I can take the needles off and put them on my project. It's obnoxious. So I like to know where everything is. One of the things that I have gotten into the habit of doing again, and I'm angry with myself and disappointed with myself, and this will be short lived. Um, but it is something that I did when our daughter was about a year and a half old. I started falling asleep very early at night, like 8:30, 8:45, and waking up early in the morning, at a time that is inconvenient for falling back to sleep.
I,
You
I
know,
remember you talking about this.
yep, and I hate it. And in the last week, I've started doing it again, and it really, really sucks. Because I could go back to sleep. I definitely have enough time to go back to sleep, but I also know that if I do, I am going to be a zombie when the alarm goes off.
Fair.
So, what I take to doing instead is I get up and I go down to our basement, and I take my knitting and I sit in the basement, finished basement, with whatever cat sees fit to join me. They'll usually come down and be like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you even awake?" And I put on one of my 3 comfort shows for knitting at an ungodly hour of the morning. And those tend to be, they're all period pieces. It's either Downton Abbey, Bridgerton, or The Crown. Right now, it's The Crown. I have seen every episode of all 3 of these shows. It doesn't matter. I don't need to really pay attention. I skip the episodes that I'm like, I wasn't crazy about this one. I've seen it before. And I just kind of zen out. My only concern is that this habit tends to move back in time of hours. Like it started out, and at first I thought it was a great idea because I'm like, oh, I'll get up at 4 and I'll knit for like an hour and a half, and then I'll get up and go to work, and it'll be great, and that'll be my knitting time. And after enough time went by, I noticed I was waking up earlier and earlier and earlier. It got to the point where I was waking up at 2 in the morning.
ooh.
I know, and it was really bad. And it seemed great at first because I'm like, I'll go to bed early, and then I will have all this time to knit, first thing in the morning. But the worst part is it would backfire, and then I would get tired again at like 5, and then it was an even worse time to be getting tired. So I'm trying to nip that before it gets too bad this time, because I know I can't. But spring break is in 2 days, and then I won't need to wake up early. So I can just force myself to go back to sleep. So hopefully this won't be longer than a couple of days. But that is my like alone knitting ritual. If I'm knitting by myself or on Thursday nights when Jess isn't there, I will usually put on. I save that. That's all my me shows that Jess does not want to watch with me. Usually involving a lot of dialogue, a lot of period drama.
See, I also like period pieces though.
Ugh,
My comfort period piece is Pride and Prejudice.
which one?
The one with Colin Firth.
Ugh. I have not seen that one all the way through yet.
It's good.
I have seen
It's good.
parts.
That one's my favorite.
I have never gone all the way because it is long. It is a long period piece.
Oh, yes. And if Frank isn't home, or like there have been a couple times where Frank's gone away for a few days, and I'll just put that on and get so much knitting done. Or if I'm having trouble sleeping, I'll stay up late and I'll watch either I liked the Netflix Marvel television series like Daredevil and Punisher and the Defenders. Like I'll just like marathon through all of those by myself. It's like my comfort show.
I will say we make a lot of my watching Ken Burns' The Civil War. That is not a me crafting saga. I cannot knit to Ken Burns' The Civil War. I've tried.
No, but you can write your thesis listening to Ken Burns.
That is a
Civil War.
thesis show. That is my. You know what? When I have to write my thesis for my next master's, I will probably be watching it again. But
I'll come over and listen to it with you.
It's not like I will say the first time that I plied on my spinning wheel, I was watching the Civil War. Because it needs to be something that I can't be paying too much attention to it because I have seen it so many times now.
Yeah.
So knitting, I actually do watch TV, so I cannot watch that. It's like, okay, I have seen, I know exactly what's happening, so I kind of get bored. I will say that I never drink anything other than water when I'm knitting, unless it's coffee with a lid. I don't like to drink any open beverages because I'm afraid of spilling.
But like, okay, so for the celebratory knitting, so yeah, I would say I have a bit of a ritual with that. So it's like when a special occasion happens in your life that you need to make a project for. So for me, I don't make a lot of things for a lot of people. But one thing I do like to make is when a new baby's in the family, I like to do a matching hat and blanket set out of like a super chunky yarn. And the only reason why I like doing it is because, for one, you always get these like nice blankets or really not nice blankets. Like there's ones that are like when you have the baby, like you have the practical ones, but they're not pretty. And then you have the impractical ones that you're afraid to get dirty. So I do kind of an in between. It's practical enough that you can clean it. So I use like an acrylic yarn or something like that. But I make it in a nice pattern so it looks fancy.
Fancier than it is.
Fancier than it is. Yeah. So like I gave one to my cousins when they had their first kids. And I believe to my husband's best friend's kids and to my niece when she was born. I gave them all a set of something. But that's the only thing I really like. I am making a special gift for another person in my family, but they keep postponing the event, so it kind of keeps postponing my gift.
How dare they?
No, it's very convenient. And so I'm like, all right, that works. But and then knitting to go, I always have to have something to go. Always have to have something prepared, some kind of bag, some kind of thing. And I usually bring two things. I usually bring one thing that I can focus on and one thing that I can't.
Oh yeah, you gotta have multiples.
Which Drea was saying she doesn't. She only has the one.
Yeah. But you see, I have found that I work better on patterns that are something that looks complicated but are actually very easy. I don't actually have to pay attention to anything that I'm really doing. I just need to know what the row is doing. I kind of plan ahead for myself. And it doesn't matter what size the project is. Like, I'm gonna work on this shawl everywhere until it's done.
That's dedication.
I get lost when I have more than one project going.
My last stream that I did, I pulled out all these whips I haven't touched in a year.
Very good.
That was a bad decision, bro. I was like, it was like my own the worst part was the one I decided to work on was my own pattern and I forgot how to do it. And everybody was laughing at me. But it was like a good laugh, like, haha, you forgot your own pattern. And I'm like,
so is your ritual starting projects and never finishing them?
I mean, I do eventually finish some.
Yeah.
I don't not have no finished projects.
No, that's true.
You know what I think my problem is I keep picking big ones. I have a lot of big projects. I have like 7 sweaters for different things. Like one for my kid, one for one kid, one for the other kid, couple for me, like, and you just can't finish that fast. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So. I have a sweater I want to cast on so badly. I have the yarn that I want to cast on for it. And I'm forcing myself to get like at least halfway with this one before casting it on, because I know otherwise neither of them will get done. I'll just be like going back and forth between the two.
So I guess if you had to put it as a ritual, the ritual is I get very distracted by shiny sweater patterns and start casting them on. I will do the yoke. Usually I get to the yoke and the sleeve split, and then it just sits. I do the whole top, the complicated part, and then I get to the easy part, and I'm like, nope, I'm good.
Well, yeah, because the easy part is also the boring part.
Yeah.
Just like when it's the straight stockinette, it's just like, oh, okay, I'm no longer interested in this project.
But this one I think I've stuck with because I actually want to wear it. I'm really, really excited to wear it. And sometimes I like making certain sweaters, but I'm not necessarily like excited to wear them. I just think that they're interesting patterns and I want to like try them out.
Yeah.
But this one's actually something I probably would wear like often. Trying, slogging through.
For a while, every time, like, you made me think about it when you were saying you would make clothes, but for a while, every time someone, a close friend or a family member had a new baby, I would make a dragon toy for them.
Oh, yeah.
Toy for them. They were always dragon-ish.
I still have Katarina's.
Yeah. So I would that was my thing for a while, which is kind of nice because they were usually crochet and they went pretty fast for me. Another thing I don't always do, but a lot of times I will, especially after like if I do a long knit project, I will switch to a crochet project for the next one, and then before I go back. And I don't know why, because sometimes I'll finish a crochet project faster, but not always. But I think it's just like the change of pace on the pattern and the stitches, so kind of like a little refresher.
Yeah, I do get kicks. Like sometimes I'll like, depending on like what I'm working on, I always try to keep one stockinette thing so that I can just do a quick row of absolutely no thinking. I could also do like, sometimes I get into like a brioche kick. So then all my projects that I'm actively working on are brioche, or a cable kick. And then everything I'm working on has cables. I mean, technically speaking, you could call us doing these episodes a ritual.
We do get together every Tuesday. And we knit and we talk about knitting.
In some capacity. Sometimes we don't, like once in a while, but most of the time we are.
Routine. See, I would actually be really interested in finding out what everybody else's crafting routines and rituals are. So if you're listening to this and you're following us on Instagram, make sure you comment on this post because actually we kind of want to know.
Some knitters knit seasonally. Some knitters like to only knit outside. Some knitters only knit for charity. Some knitters like to make things that are reflective and meaning that they have personal significance or meaning. So such as a shawl or blanket made with yarn from a special trip.
I think I'm just an equal opportunity knitter.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Like, I definitely don't understand the seasonal. I knit, it could be 100 degrees out. I remember we were at that cabin this August, and I was trying to knit. I was like, well, I'm hot. Nope, time to go in. Not time to go in because it's hot. Time to go in because it's hot and I can't knit at the same time. So I'm going to go in so I can keep knitting.
Yeah.
I might change the type of yarn I'm using. Like I might switch to my cotton projects over
Or
my
a-
heavy wool.
or a linen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I'm still knitting.
Yeah, I'll be knitting even if my fingers are sweaty. Like, I don't care.
I definitely don't have specific times of year where I knit more, especially now, but I used to go through stages with no rhyme or reason where I would stop knitting for a while. I don't do it anymore. There will be times when I like prefer to do more knitting. I find in the winter I tend to churn out projects faster than in the summer, and mainly I think it's because with summer I'm it sounds counterproductive, but I'm home and I feel like there's a lot of other stuff I should be doing, whereas in the winter it's like, well, it's cold, I'm not going to go outside.
Well,
And
there's also that instant gratification of finishing a project and then getting to use it right away.
right, in the summer you're like, cool, I finished the sweater, yay, pack that away for a few months. But yeah, there's I could not put a pin on it though and say like I don't knit in the summer or I don't knit in the fall or whatever. There it comes and goes.
I had that long period of time where I didn't knit for several years.
I did that too.
Yeah, I
Same.
don't know why. I can't, I'm like trying to think back as to why I stopped and also how I started again. I couldn't tell you. I know I stopped because I mean, well, it was a kind of a hectic time. I had just gotten married. I graduated school. It was just like getting your first job. It was just a hectic time, but
Yeah.
I don't remember when I think I restarted again maybe a couple years after I got married, and I made these horrible hats. I have pictures of them. Terrible, terrible hats. Just oh, really bad. Um and but yeah, I couldn't tell you why other than like it was crazy. Why I picked it back up. I can't imagine not knitting now.
Yeah, I say that, but I do go days without knitting.
Oh no, yeah, days, but I mean like years. I can't imagine myself not picking it up
No,
for a long ass time.
I did that too.
Yeah.
But I also think that it's at least for me, it's an out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. So
Oh yeah.
if I'm not looking at my supplies and if I'm not looking at my yarn and I'm not looking at um my projects, like I could very easily just put it down and then never pick it up again.
I find myself struggling with trying to fit everything that I want to do into one day. And uh, if it is nice out and it comes down to I can sit at home and knit or I can go outside, sorry knitting, it's not a contest. I'll come back to you when it's dark outside. And that's kind of been more my issue lately, why I haven't been finishing stuff.
I really wish I could have that problem because I really need to go outside. I have quite a vitamin D deficiency. Also, I need to like exercise, and I'm just gonna work just a little bit longer. Oh, it's dark out. Never mind. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
I will say that's the major benefit to going into work so damn early is getting out so damn early.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, how the hell do you do it? And I'm like, well, I don't mind going into work for 6:45 if I can be out by 3. It's not bad.
Well, that's it for this week's topic. For additional content and opportunities to connect with the cast, check out our Patreon or our website at pardonmystash.com. Be sure to tune in next week for more laughs, love, and llamas at Pardon My Stash.